my name is Lizzie. Each week I'm bringing along a different origami fold, and that's to encourage you to give some time for yourself to get completely immersed in something completely different and forget about everything that's going on in the world. I strongly recommend it. It's lovely to get absorbed. And I think also when the world feels a little bit out of your control, to make something very beautiful really helps. You're bringing your own little bit of control onto something you can do. And to make something that will inspire you, you'll keep enjoying and looking at it and touching it and enjoying that you've used this time as an opportunity. So, goodness, I have got the stakes really upped on this one. Somebody who's been coming along to my sessions online has asked if I could explain how to make one of these, a Bascetta star. So it's what's called a modular piece of origami, where you make little units and they plug together. So it's a bit like Lego, but a bit more complicated than that. Obviously this one is huge. This was a really big project and my biggest project I've ever done so far. So you're unlikely to do one like this, but you'll learn the principle, and that's what I'm really keen to explain. So the one which I'm really going to show you, so it's all the same little unit, is to make this lovely little star, which has 12 pieces in it. If you make 30, you can make a piece like this. And I'll also explain the principle of it, because actually I was trying to look at books and I just couldn't understand it. But once I got the idea of the shape, it's actually really simple. So I'll be explaining to you how it all works. But first of all, I'll be showing you how to make a little unit. So we're going to make units to make this one, which has got 12 pieces in it. And what I'll do is I'll show you how to make just 3. And everything of this is composed in 3. So each little spike is a triangle. And I've made some a bit earlier, and then I'll show you how to assemble this one. And I'll then explain how you can do bigger pieces. So all of these films are dedicated to my colleagues who work in a hospital at UCLH, but these films are for everybody, thinking of how isolated we all are and how we're missing that human physical contact. And I hope by touching paper, I think we can feel connected, and you're feeling connected to something that's real. And although I'll be showing you, it will only, and you're very welcome just to watch for relaxation. Actually doing it, you will be finding all sorts of wonderful things happening to you. It'll be a challenge, but actually a challenge is the best way ultimately actually to relax, because your mind is so fully occupied, you'll forget everything else. So I hope you're going to enjoy this. This is, as I said, my biggest challenge, and I normally bring along quite simple pieces of origami. But somebody asked me whether I could share. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to shirk away from giving this a go. Let's see if I can do it. So I've also done a little time lapse of this as well, which is quite fun. Here it goes. So I'm going to move that to one side. So grab yourself a piece of paper. I'm going to show you how to make 3 units. You can follow me along with that, and then with the film you can rewind and continue, and you'll find, I think what's relaxing about modular origami is the repetition. So at first it's a little bit hard. With time it gets easier because of the repetition. You'll find yourself just naturally learning. So it's a really good way of learning origami. It's very soothing. And you really get into, I just love the patterns and the shapes. This is absolutely beautiful. So it's from Paolo Bascetta, who's an Italian origamist. I was so lucky I got to meet him. And he said, I think you're a fan, because I was so excited about meeting him. I was like, yes, I am a fan. He's done so much amazing work. So grab yourself something to press on, piece of paper. Here goes. You could also, I recommend this one, you could, after you've got the idea of the unit, you could cut up different pieces of paper, maybe bits of writing, maybe bits of colour. It makes really beautiful. I think you may even find yourself feeling a tiny bit festive. I think giving yourself festive projects maybe you could make for yourself and to give to others could be a really good thing. So I'm going to make 3 squares from this. Actually, there'll be 4 squares, but I'll just show you them with folding 3. So because this star is made of lots of little bits, I would recommend doing smaller bits of paper. Otherwise, you'll end up with a massive star. Though, of course, a massive star is rather good. So I'm just simply going to fold it in half I always show you using just plain A4 paper. Actually, I found it's quite good because you can hopefully see the shadow and light quite well. But also I figure this is something you'd have lying around at home. So if you do a good, strong, accurate line, you should be able to just nick the corner, put it down on a solid surface, and then tear it this way. There we go. And we're going to make squares from this. So to make a square, you simply take a corner and line it up. And so I'm actually a biologist in background, and these pieces of modular origami I get very excited about because I can completely see the parallels of biology. These obviously look very virus-like, and viruses are surprisingly beautiful, even though we don't want to get close to this one. We're going to then fold this back, but they are like little jewels ultimately. And it's because their DNA, their genome, is in a very tiny space, so they can't encode many proteins. So effectively, they're trying to minimise the number of what they can make from a small number of things. So effectively, it's like modular origami, that you have the same unit over and over again. How can you arrange them to make a lovely shell of a virus? Anyway, taking this corner slightly off task here, but it's very much science and art origami, which just makes it fascinating. It's about profound things in the universe and about our bodies and about how life works. It's all about folding. There we go. So I'll just be showing you with 3. And then I'll be showing you how to assemble from 12 to give you the principle, and then I'll explain how you could do bigger ones if you are feeling very ambitious. But I really recommend it. The Bascetta star for me has been particularly a very soothing one. So the huge one that I made that I showed you, that's 270 pieces, and I did that over the course of a week on train journeys, or any spare moment watching telly or whatever it was I was doing. I'd be folding, and it becomes so automatic. I found it very calming, very enjoyable, and I think setting yourself some kind of a goal, it's just really nice. You feel such a sense of achievement at the end of it. Okay, so we're going to make our little module. All I was doing there was making a square. So what I want you to do is to open up a square and fold it over in half, like so. There we go. Let's do that to all 3. Then you start to get the idea of repetition. And some people like to do each one separately. I tend to like to do things together because it's somehow, I think it's easier on your brain to just do the same action over and over again. Then you're getting the idea of how it all works. There we go. So all I'm doing is opening it up and folding it in half, like so. Now you could have coloured on one of the sides, so you can get all sorts of interesting effects. It's up to you. There's lots you can play with here. So I'm going to open this up, and what we're going to do is take a corner, and we're going to fold it into the middle, like so. You see? So I took it to the middle there. Now be nice and accurate with this because, well, like all origami, you start well, it continues well. But particularly with modular, because you've got a lot of pieces that all need to be working. So it's worth getting it right. And then this corner to the middle there. Just put that down on the surface. So it was open like this, and I took a corner, folded it to the middle, fold it to the middle, and yeah, you need to make sure that everything's the same way around. That's why I'm showing it to myself there to make, because I'm actually seeing it in a mirror way. There we go. So again, opening it up, and again folding that side. Make sure you do all of them exactly the same way round. Otherwise things again won't fit. we go. Again, be nice and accurate. And I do live folds as well every Wednesday at 2. So it's really nice to all be there together in person. So taking the corner, folding it to the middle, and I just hope this can provide some support for your mind, how to look after our minds in this time. That's it. So another sheet, again taking the corner and folding it to the middle, being really careful to line everything up. There's something very satisfying about getting it right. All nice and neat and tidy. That's right. And quite often it's hard to, people describe sometimes with work that it's hard to know when you've ever finished. There's often not a sense of completion, whereas there is with origami. You set yourself a goal and you complete it, and it's nice to have that feeling. Right, so our next step, we've got 3 of them like that, is to turn it to the back. And what we're going to do, I like to think of imagining this almost as a fan sort of area. So you've got that middle line there. What I'm going to do is simply fold this in half up to that main line, and it will form a really nice decorative shape. I think that way you'll make sure it's correct. So from this narrow end, folding it in half to that middle line. Can you see? I'm afraid again I'm having to put this down on the surface to see what I'm doing. So be nice and accurate. There's a couple of layers there. So from the outside, this is your middle line. You're going to sort of halve it so it's coming down to that middle line, and you'll find a little bit sticks out. I find that rather elegant and beautiful. And you're going to do the same thing at the bottom. So again, it's sort of narrow there, wide there, and you're going to halve it from the point end to that middle line, and you'll end up with a lovely shape there. So it was down here, I brought it up to that middle line, and you'll find there's a little bit that's sticking out. Great, so we're getting there. Let's do the other 2. And this is rather good because we're doing 3. I'll be able to show you with these 3 how they slot together. So turning it to the back, and you've got that main middle line, and that main middle line, and you want to do it so it looks like that fan area, and we're going to halve it. So we're going to halve it from that pointy end down to the middle. Again, I'm going to put that down on the surface, and I hope you can do the same too. So it's up here, and I brought it down there. So again, this end, it's like a fan shape. Ignore that line, that's because we're making a square. We're going to halve it and bringing it up to that middle line. Again, do it on a solid surface. That way you can press down, and when you're pressing down, you're releasing some of that tension, which is just relaxing. There we go. So again, turning it over, that middle line, think of this fan shape, and that we're halving it like so. There we go. And then again, this fan shape, halving it. So it's a rather elegant shape, I think. There's something really distinctive about Paolo Bascetta's work. So beautiful. Right, so now we're going to turn it to the back, going from one side to another. And you can see there are these little bits sticking out here. What I want you to do is to fold from here to here. Can you see? So from there to there. So I like to sort of get my fingers lined up there, and I'm going to fold it over. And I'll be really accurate. And everything here is about being accurate and sharp, and there's something very pleasing about that. Now there's a little bit sticking up there. You might as well at this point also then fold it back, tuck it out of the way. We've pretty much made the unit at that point actually. We've done well. So again, you've got this shape, so where it goes in there and there, all we're doing is folding it over. But again, be nice and accurate to your point there. And again, it sticks out, tuck it away. This actually is your lovely unit. It's a gorgeous thing. I think you can maybe just enjoy it as it is. So you can also now just fold it in half. So all the bits that stick in, tuck them away, and you end up with a lovely little neat shape. Isn't that just a beautiful sculpture? There you go. So that is a completed unit. So again here, we are turning it to the back. And you've got these little bits sticking up. What we're going to do is fold it from there to there. Again, I like to get my nails or fingers lined up there. So I'm going to fold it in this way. So this is much more ambitious than I normally show you. It's the kind of thing I really enjoy, and it has taken me time to get there. But some of you may enjoy this opportunity to think of something a little bit more ambitious if you wish. Otherwise, just enjoy. It's something different, and it adds to the collection of films I'm doing. Again, might get you feeling a little bit festive. So from there to there, I think we need to make our own little sparkle at this time, don't we? Again, I rather like the feel of this. There we go, just enjoy going slowly. After a while, if you decide to do a big project, you'll find yourself doing loads of these, and it just becomes automatic. Again, lovely shape. I mean, that could be a beautiful piece of jewellery, couldn't it? You could maybe decorate that. And then folding it in half. Like so. There we go. Lovely sharp little angular shape there. Again, here, turning it to the back. And again, we're going to fold from there to there. So I hope just showing you 3 times is beginning to give you this feeling for each of these actions. I tend to think of it all as like a little dance for the fingers. Most of all for the mind to get your head around it. But hopefully it's rather lovely. Again, bit sticking up. Fold it back. Nice. Keep it all nice and tight. Enjoy the tightness of this. Nice and sharp, this. I haven't even shown you the more classic Sonobi module yet, which is simpler and in many ways has inspired everybody back from the 60s. So we're going to fold from there to there. But hey, why not show you something ambitious? We'll go back to something simpler because soon it's going to be Halloween things and fireworks. So I've got some things there, so I can't wait to share those with you. Again, lovely shape. Folding that in half. There we go. Right, well, we've made 3 and I can start to show you the principle of how you start to build with this. So if you undo it, I like to think of these almost as little arms. You can undo that little arm, uncoil it a bit, because that's going to be useful. And again, the same with this one. This little arm, undo it, bring it back round. These will be the points. So can you see? I've ended up opening it like that, and I would recommend doing that for each of them. But I do really like starting off with them nice and tight. So opening it up, undoing that little arm, this little arm, bringing it out. It's just opening it up a little bit so it's a little bit looser. That'll be for the building. So when I was doing my 270, I'd have lots of them stacked up like this. It's good in terms of space. So opening it up, get these little arms, and it's kind of open like that. Right, how to build this thing. Here we go. So, hope you can see well enough. So this shape, hopefully you may have in your hand. If not, just watch this out of curiosity. So think of this little arm, and it will slide in. It will slide into this shape here. I'm afraid it is a question of doing it all. So sliding it in to that point, she says. So one will slide into the other, and it makes this quite a complex looking shape. There we go. Beautiful looking, isn't it? And each point, each of these spikes is actually made of 3. So each interlocks into the other. So it's these shapes that you're locking the little arm into. So you're sliding it in and pushing it in. and it should all go gently without any force. Now how to seal it up completely. It's all very tight, turning it round here. Again, this arm needs to slot into this area. So you're kind of pushing it all the way around. So each spike is effectively triangular. And I'm picking this up. And what I tend to do is open up this flap, and I then push that in, slide that in. And you may find this all a little bit frustrating because I know on film it's a little bit hard to follow. But if you do it yourself, you'll find, I'm afraid, it's by doing it yourself that you'll start to learn. I push that in there. But this is what you're aiming for. So what I'll do is I'll show you how to make the 12 one. It's very Blue Peter style, but I've made another 9 in here, and I've often worked at nice little plastic tubs where I've been organised and folded the right number. So if you think of this shape is 12 pieces, and can you see it's very clearly a square? So think of 4 as a square, and it's a square on each of these sides. That's what the 12 one is. So just think each time that's the shape you're trying to make, the 4 on each side. That will keep you in good stead. I'll show you after this how you could do something bigger still, and it's all about these patterns. So this is a pattern of 4, but you have 12 pieces to make up the 4. So all I've made here is 1 spike, but you can see already this is almost half looking of that square shape. So we've got a point that will become a point here. The point here is obviously one that needs to come here. Okay, so I'm going to have a go at assembling. But as I said, I think it's for you also to be doing in order to understand this. It's very hard to explain. Now, actually, the way I learned it was a huge sheet. So I bought a lovely Bascetta Star lampshade set. So, wait, this is what I got. And I do find it hard from these pictures and patterns. But actually, the diagram of how to make the unit was very simple, and that's what I've been showing you. And so, yeah, these things make fabulous lampshades. So, or if you have a LED light, you could put in the middle of one or hang them up against the lights. They look really amazing. But I'm afraid I ended up realizing I just need to understand the pattern in order to do it. Instructions. So if you understand the principle, that's the way to do it. Right, so it's again, each time you take your piece and you just want to undo the little arms, make them a little looser, unravelling them, and each one of these will grab onto the next spike. It's like a little hug between spikes. So I'm going to undo a few of these, so I'm all ready. I've got a pot of 9, so in total we've got 12. Again, just take this as a principle rather than an instruction, because that's actually what we're trying to do. Right, so here I'm picking this up and I can see there's a little arm. So this little arm will need to go into the next point, which is always this sort of shape. That shape is which will take another arm. So I am tucking this in, sliding that in, and it goes rather well. Now each spike is made of 3, so there's 2 there, so I need to get the next one here already. Right, and I'm afraid it's a little bit of a hard to see, isn't it, all of this, and I don't think there is an easy way of doing it. It's for you to experiment with and enjoy the challenge if you choose to take up this challenge. And it's fine if you don't enjoy just playing with little few pieces. Again, making these spikes into 3s, and there's a little flap here. But other weeks I'll be showing you much simpler things, so please don't be put off by this. This is me rising to the challenge of someone asking me to explain something a bit more complex. But I don't want to put people off on trying something more bold. Why not? It will stand you in good stead. I think origami is about encouraging you to look at the new. There we go, you can see it's becoming that 4. I'm going to get a few more of these lined up. Each time I'm undoing them, you can see how I wasn't going to show you all 12 in the folding because it would just take too long. 270 pieces, maybe not. Hopefully you're getting the principle of it, but enjoy playing with it. So I want to complete this side, so it's the 4. So again, I see this shape and I slide my little arm in there, and it should line up so it goes at this lovely angle. And I've just got 2 in that spike, so I need to complete it with a 3rd piece. It's so absorbing. I just love these stars. I'll explain to you a bit more about some of these different shapes that are possible. I saw images of the very big ones, and I was just so inspired. I thought I had to give it a go, but I had to understand first. I'm afraid it doesn't just self-assemble. You have to understand what you're doing. If anything, I would recommend this sort of modular origami using sort of fairly stiff paper, or I think that will help. Oh, not quite sure what's going on there, sorry. What is going on there? I don't know. There we go. So it's going. Again, here's an open spike here, so I reckon I can build another one. And what I'm aiming for each time is to create a structure of 4 on each side, and then it will sort of build itself. It's amazing how much harder this feels when you're filming yourself. But hopefully, there we go. Hopefully we're getting there. Making sure each time the arm tucks in. I'm afraid, as I said, you need to do these things yourself to get the principle of it, or otherwise just enjoy watching, which is fine as well. Fascinating thing to see. There you go. So that's that. And if you've got different colours on different sides, then that's also, you'll get all sorts of amazing complex effects, which is what I've done with this one. You can see but I thought the white is more realistic for what we have, and in some ways is simpler, because the more different colours you have, the more mind-bending it all feels, doesn't it? But hopefully in good ways. Right, getting there. That to one side. So I've just got 4 more pieces actually to add. But I thought this is very recognisably a star. 12 pieces is just about doable, hey? I probably feel like an awful lot. I'm doing these little arms so that they're all loose and ready. Again, nice tight shape. I undo the little arms. Now I'm ready to build. Hopefully we'll get there. I think most of it's about persistence. So actually this A4 just normal copier paper is quite good, I think, for the Bascetta start. It actually feels better than the thinner origami paper that I had, which looks very colourful but a little bit harder. The very big one I made was from all the little scraps of coloured paper that I've been cutting up for origami. And I thought so I realised if it's big, you're going to have to work quite small pieces or it'll be huge. Again, there's a little arm here. It needs to tuck in. So I lift up this flap and then I can tuck that in like so. But you need to keep that almost triangle nice and tightly together in order to be able to push it in. Well, this is a challenge, isn't it, for winter? What a nice challenge. Where are we now? That's it, It does feel complex when you're doing this on film. Okay, well it feels here like I could do another one. Oh, one slipping out. Yeah, and you'll feel all fingers and thumbs, so I think it's a good idea to start off with fairly big pieces so you get the hang of what you're doing. Because it's all rather tight folds and holding things. And again, I'm aiming for a nice tight triangle. It's about not giving up. Even with this, I'm feeling about like, it's a little bit hard on camera. And you'll be finding that you'll go through these stages of frustration, but then you're also, I think, releasing a bit of stress in a sort of useful way. Or at least you're letting it out on that rather than other people. There we go. Or on yourself. Let it out on the paper, but you do have to go a bit careful on it. Very patient. I really do think it encourages patience. Most of all, patience with yourself. Whew, getting there. You might find your tongue sticking out as well. You can't see mine, can you? Right, again, I'm going to take my little arm. Spotted that side, so again, pushing that in. Again, I need to make this triangular in shape. It's funny, I was quite resistant to even showing you this because I knew it would be quite a hard thing to show, really. And how do I show you such a complex thing? We all try to avoid doing things that are tricky, don't we? But you know what? Our sense of achievement is great when we take on a challenge. And although in a way you could say, what's the point of this? Actually giving yourself a break from everything. There's a huge point to that. Particularly when, I think for everyone, life's pretty difficult at the moment. I'm hoping this can be some support for you. Sort of like a bit of company. So these are not super slick videos, but you're seeing a little bit of me and what I try to bring to patients. And this is, in a way, the only way we can do it at the moment. Again, all these things should be interlocked into each other. So, again, a little arm, and you should be able to slot it into one of those things. Right, wow, last piece. I'm almost there. Whew, the last piece is always the trickiest. But we can do it, we can do it. Right, again, I spotted that bit. Push that in. Push it against myself because I need about 4 arms. Oh. Right. That will need to go into there. You will find yourself getting very tense with this bit. It's okay. You can do it. At least that's what I'm saying to myself. Again, opening up this little flap. And knowing this is a very, very ambitious piece that I'm showing you. And next week's will be much, much, much simpler. So you'll be able to do the other. So if you're finding yourself like, oh, I just can't do this, or this is too much, that's okay. But if you feel like, actually, you know what, I'd really love to do something as difficult as that, then join me. We're almost there. Wow. Again. This bit. Feels like you need a lot of energy for this. Isn't it a lovely energetic looking piece? It's so tactile. On the wards, I remember there was people who maybe couldn't see so well. And touching this. And it's just like, oh, this is interesting. And again, there's a little flap there. Last piece. There we go. Hurrah! It has come together. What a thing. I hope that's worked for you. It will obviously have taken you a lot longer than the video you will have to make the little units and to get your head around it. But the idea is 4, so 12 produces this structure. Now if you want to go bigger, and I thoroughly recommend this one actually, which is called an icosahedron. And these are patterns of 5. Can you see? So here we've got a very clear 4. Here there's a pentagon on every side. So what you're aiming for is a 5 on each side. So there's actually 12 pentagons, and that makes a perfect sphere, and it's so strong. And actually a lot of viruses are based on icosahedrons, and you can see why. It's naturally very strong. This is the best structure you could make. And this Bascetta star module is so strong anyway, because of all of that wrapping around, hugging hold of each other. It's very strong, it's very beautiful. So that's a really nice one. So 30 pieces, and using, thinking of pentagons only. Now I got very ambitious, which is what you saw. I call it the Goliath because it's a bit of an ambitious one. And this is 270. So, well, if you think of a football's bigger, and you can't add more pentagons. So to make a perfect ball, it's always 12 pentagons. The way you make it bigger is to add hexagons. They're flat. So a football is a pentagon with a hexagon in between. This one is bigger still, so that would be 90. This is 270. The principle is a pentagon with 2 hexagons in between until you get to the next pentagon. Yeah, so there's a pentagon with 2 hexagons in between. Oh, so there's a pentagon, and then 1, 2, oh, and then she says in there will be a pentagon. That's how I built it, and it was very, very beautiful inside as well as I built it. And I used lots of little scraps of paper, but I had to be very accurate on cutting those and very accurate with folding, so it came together. Because if things are out, the whole thing will shift out. But it's I love it. It's my Goliath. I hope you've enjoyed that, and it's certainly a top challenge if you're willing to take it on. But as I said, I think it make really nice little stars, things maybe you could hang from a tree in due course. But they're lovely all through the year, and I think we all need our little sparkles to be like a star. So I hope you've enjoyed that. I'll do a live fold on Wednesday, and we'll just do the 3 little units so you get the idea. And the following week I'll start to do Halloween themes, so I hope you're going to enjoy that. Thank you very much. Bye bye.